So hello and welcome to another podcast from the Engineering Department at Durham University. As always, my name's Chloe and today we're joined by Rebecca, who's Operations Administrator in the department. Welcome, Rebecca. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you, Chloe. I'm quite well, thank you. I'm a little bit nervous, but that's, pretty normal.
Oh, you'll be absolutely fine, I'm sure. Okay, so today we're hoping to start by talking a bit about your role within the department and what you get up to kind of day to day. As well as a little bit about positivity and some of the things you like to do in your free time. And then I believe you also had some questions you wanted to ask me as well, which will hopefully offer the audience something a little bit different today.
Definitely.
So to begin with, for those who maybe haven't had the chance to meet you in person yet, could you give us an idea of what your role is within the department?
So I'm the operations administrator, so it is such a varied role. I do all sorts of things. So I'm secretary for committees, I look after reception, I supervise social media, I look at new processes. So a lot of things like, for example, if it's a paper-based process, I am looking to move that to being electronic. Pretty much as a good variety of things in my role. But I thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh, that's good. So I guess if your role's very varied, there might not be kind of a typical day, but if you had to describe a typical day, what does your day look like?
So today my day is yeah. So today I am doing minutes from last week's publicity committee and trying to start the action log, and I'm also preparing for tomorrow's health and safety committee, catching up on emails from bank holiday weekend. So like I said, it can vary from day to day, so yeah, it's very varied.
Yeah, no, it sounds really interesting. Variety. So for those who don't know, Rebecca works in the admin office in Higginson with lots of other people from learning and teaching, from finance, all sorts of other areas. So what's life like in the office?
You know what, it's been so strange because back in January 2020, when I first joined the department, there was 10 or 11 of us in the office, and then from like March onwards it was just home working. So once we started to filter back come September, obviously there's been different lockdowns and stuff like that, so we've kind of took turns of who's come into the office and we're on a rota basis. But you know what, the thing I like most about the office is when we have to work and get our heads down, we do. But then when we need to have a laugh, it is great. Honestly, everyone is so lovely and it is just a great place to work.
Oh, that's really nice. So I didn't actually realise, I'm going to add a little question in here. I didn't realise you only started in January 2020. So how did that kind of come about? Where were you before that?
So I've been with the university, oh gosh, nearly 10 years now, on and off because I've took a career break. So I actually started off in catering. I worked in college catering, then went to retail. Then I had a break and I went and worked and travelled in Australia for a year and over to New Zealand. Then I came home and I started doing admin. So I was on reception help desk. Then I moved to Stevenson College on reception for a year. So I travelled between here and Stockton. And then I went to Hatfield College and I stayed there for a year and a half. And then when I saw this job come up, I thought, well, you know what, that sounds quite interesting. And after what I like to call a lengthy interview process, I ended up joining this team in January 2020 before all the craziness of lockdowns happened.
Oh yeah, no, it's been very unfortunate. You must have only had a little bit of time sort of in normality. So what was it like working abroad in kind of New Zealand, Australia?
You know what, it was absolutely amazing. I was lucky enough to go to Australia when I was 21, and I just fell in love with it. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm still young. I've got, I didn't have my house or anything back then. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a break for a year and I'm going to go and travel. I was lucky enough to work on Fraser Island, which was it's like the largest sand island in the world. It's a very sort of eco-friendly tourist resort. And then I was because you can only stay in a job for 6 months on a working holiday visa. After that, I went to Uluru, Ayers Rock, and we did like outdoor dining. It was absolutely amazing. and you know, you make friends for life. And I've been lucky enough to travel to Japan to stay with one of my friends who I made in Australia. So, you know, it was, and you, I think as well, you learn so much about culture and different nationalities, and that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, no, working abroad definitely is something I think I'd be interested in as well. I think it must be fascinating to experience a completely different culture. So I know from talking to you over the last few months that you're a lovely, bubbly and positive person, always smiling, even with, you know, the global pandemic going on. So what are your tips for staying positive?
Definitely having a good night's sleep. That's always that, I know sometimes it's more easier said than done. I drink a lot of lemon and ginger tea. That's very good for being positive. And I know sometimes again it can seem like an impossible task, but exercise, my gosh, I love walking. I go hiking quite a lot on a weekend. I love going to new places, finding new beauty spots and just climbing up the rocks or walking over the fells. And you know what, I don't particularly love running, but I do it because it's good for me. And I've got the Great North Run in September, which you know, you've got to be prepared for. I did it 2 years ago, and I would definitely say you need to be prepared, get that training in, and it is the most enjoyable day you'll ever have. The atmosphere is just electric.
Oh, I wish you luck for that. I hope it goes ahead.
Thank you.
So when you're not working in the department, other than sort of your walking and your running, what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Well, obviously, you know, due to lockdown, we haven't been able to socialise. So socialising is a big thing for me. I mean, being able to go out for a Sunday lunch with some friends this Sunday. I mean, we'll be sat outside, but just stuff like I miss going out for, you know, I like going out for meals. I like going out to have a dance. I've got a dog, so I love walking him. I mean, he doesn't live with me, he lives with my mum. So when I get a chance to go out and walk him, I love that. Obviously, I like to sit and watch Netflix. If there's a true crime drama on, I'm there watching it. So yeah, I'm pretty chilled out person. So I love to dance. I'm not very good at it, but I love to dance as well.
Uh-huh. So my last question for you then for today. So what are if we look ahead a bit, what are your goals for the future?
Well, in my personal capacity is to get my roof fixed and my house and the garden sorted. But in my professional capacity, so I'm currently doing a business administration and VQ level 3 at the local college here. So after that, I'm looking to go into student support, gain some experience, and then I would like to become like an assistant senior tutor or assistant vice master, I think they're called these days. And that's genuinely my sort of goal, to get to that sort of level. But now it's like sort of my turn to ask your questions, Chloe. On that note, we'll go on to your questions. So how are you, Chloe?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Just getting ready for exams.
Good. So I need to ask you, like, when did you first like become interested in engineering?
So I would say for me, I think I first recall kind of looking through the options booklet at GCSE and just seeing a subject in there called engineering. And I remember reading about it and thinking, yeah, that sounds like something I'd be interested in. I've kind of always looked at things and wondered how they worked. So yeah, I decided to do it at GCSE. I then continued and did product design at A-level. And pretty much from there, I've just followed the path through to engineering because it's been the thing that's interested me the most.
Oh, so they actually offered engineering as a GCSE at your school?
Yeah, I was very lucky.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because I know, for example, I know when I was at school there was no, obviously you could do maths, further maths, physics.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that sort of option. So that sounds quite interesting to have that option in a school. So I also need to ask you, what attracted you to Durham? What is it that stood out for you?
In terms of the university, I think it would be the fact that they offer the general course. Because as you can probably tell from how I got into engineering, I didn't really know much about it until I saw it in that booklet. So I didn't know when I came to university which stream I wanted to take. So it was really, really useful to have that option to not have to choose. I think also in terms of kind of less academic, I would say the fact that it's a small city kind of location I grew up in quite a rural town, so I wasn't looking for anywhere that's a big city. And also I was looking, when I went to sort of apply for university, I was looking for somewhere that would be a new place for me to explore. And having grown up in sort of south of London, I was really looking for somewhere in the north, somewhere a bit different, somewhere with slightly different heritage. So that was really interesting to learn about while I've been at Durham as well.
So have you decided sort of what stream you want to go down, or are you sort of to and from between one or the other?
I think at this point I'll probably go for mechanical, because I think I'm a little bit to and fro in between electrical and mechanical, to be honest. But I think on the basis that one of my slightly weaker spots is electronics, I think I'd prefer to go for the mechanical. But also in terms of which areas of engineering interest me, mechanical seems to just generally pop up more than electrical.
Well, I'm sure you'll have plenty of fun doing mechanics. It'll be a good year. So I want to know, what do you like most about Durham?
I think for me, it's going to sound a little bit cheesy, but for me, the thing that I've most liked about Durham has been the people I've got to know. I kind of, in school, I had the same group of friends, and to be honest, I was a bit worried that when I got to university, I might not sort of be able to make new friends. But I've met some really lovely people. It's been so nice to, when we're allowed to be able to go to the pub, and just chill out, sort of, and take a break from study and socialise. That's been, I think, one of my favourite things.
So you'll be pleased next year, like to come back next year, and hopefully, hopefully after June the 21st, the restrictions will be lifted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we were having a bit of an email conversation the other day. Can you tell me some more about your summer internship coming up?
Yes, so over the summer this year, I'm going to be spending 9 weeks with an engineering consultancy. I think, unfortunately, it's mostly going to be virtual, but hopefully I'll be able to get there in person a little bit. And it's going to be a mechanical engineering internship in the design team in the consultancy. I don't actually know a huge amount more than that at this stage. The company works in kind of energy, transport, infrastructure, healthcare, all sorts of areas. So I'm really excited because I could be working on any sort of project. So I'm really looking forward to it.
It does sound really interesting. And do you know, if you have to travel, where will you be going to?
So if I do need to travel, it will be in Surrey, in Dorking.
So it's not really too far from
No.
where you are, which is, it's ideal, because I couldn't imagine having to commute miles and miles to work every day. It's nice that it's just 10 minutes for me. So can you tell me what your plans are for the future in your personal capacity and also your professional capacity?
Yeah, so professional, I guess, completing my degree is probably the top one up there. I think the more I've done of my degree, the more I've learned about the engineering industry, and the more keen I am to now be in that industry and be involved in kind of real projects. Personal goals, I think I'd like to just get outside this summer. I feel like I spent the last year inside, so I just want to get outside as much as possible. I enjoy running, and I managed to run, I sort of started running in February 2020, and so I managed to do, I think, up to 10k last summer. So I'd like to see this summer if maybe I can sort of pass that and go a bit further. But yeah, just getting out. I need to be outside.
I totally agree. And if you want a good 10k, Durham City 10k is it's an interesting one because of the hills. I did it 2 years ago, and it was interesting. It was the hottest day of the year as well, but it was, I think it's always that sense of reward after you've done something. So
yeah.
For me, I'd really suggest it for you. Now I'd just like to say thank you for answering my questions, Chloe. I've really enjoyed having this sort of one-to-one.
Yeah, no, it's been really nice to do a slightly different thing today. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for chatting to me.
You're most welcome.
It's been really lovely to hear from you. And thank you to everyone who's been listening today. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. We have more podcasts coming soon, so do keep an eye on our social media pages for future episodes and for more information and news about our department.